Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Punch Up Pod with Lila and Pat. Happy Wednesday. Pat, my friend, how are you? Long day for you.
Yeah, long day, but I'm feeling good. I'm liking that tired, exhausted, delirious, but sort of happy. And now I got a beer. So I got up at 6 o'clock this morning to do a job that started early and changing the whole electrical panel. And
long day. Thank you for being a trooper and being here. Yeah, as Devin says, look at you all dressed up.
I'm down to the shirts that I don't like because I've been so lazy with my laundry.
It looks good on you, though. That's a good one.
All right.
Put that in the rotation. Pat just caught me.
It's got a zipper
and
everything. It's like Michael Jackson style. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. It's like members only. You can put stuff in there.
Yeah, it's corny.
I love it.
Anyway, go on.
Just that you caught me. My shirt is a Bernie tank top. But you saw me as I was jumping into the seat. I ran to the bathroom right before we went on. You're like, is that a Bernie shirt? Yeah. What? I got tons of them in 2019 when he announced he was running. Yeah. And sometimes I still wear them.
I have one that was gifted to me. I bought a Bernie sticker, but like, I'm not one to buy a lot of swag.
Yeah.
It's just kind of weird. In California, it's not like he needed boosting in California, you know?
Like, I mean, you're right overall, but because I am in such like a liberal enclave of people who were like,
right,
still mad about Hillary or like, well, Kamala and Beto and Pete and Liz Warren just as progressive. And I just felt like I had it, which is
yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about it.
Vocal, that's why I lost so many of my friends.
Right. Same. But actually, I want to take what I said back because we were boosting him a lot. Like I was working, right, some of the boosts and he needed boosting, but I just,
No, I know.
I don't know. I don't fan on anyone. Like it's fanboy. Okay. It's just
neither. I totally agree. Yeah. Even though I'm sitting here wearing a Bernie's shirt, Bernie shirt.
Well, I was Pat the Burner too. So
you're right. But a lot of them are like, it's just the list of policies. And then a lot of like my Medicare for All shirts started off with Bernie on them. And now they're just Medicare for All or defund the police or, that kind of a thing. But yeah.
It's a good way to support a candidate like, Cori Bush, Paul Jean, I don't know. Back when we believed a little bit in electoral politics, if you wanted to give the candidate $20, you could get a shirt. And it's kind of like
exactly
a way to boost them when you walk around and throw a couple bucks in their campaign. So no knocking people who
I know.
Lila.
You can knock me. It's part of the charm is that you like to knock me. All right. I know we keep talking about this, but now that we do a Sunday show, my idea of the weekly calendar is always off kilter. Like I always forget what day it is. Yeah. I feel like I'm just, and I love doing it, but it's really altered my perception of time, which is so lame, but it has.
Yeah, same. And I don't normally work on Wednesdays. So it's like an extra layer today of like, tomorrow's Friday because I worked.
Yeah.
And it's not.
Yeah, I know. Hi ho, it's off to work. All right. So first, as always, we want to thank our beautiful members, our pup heroes and sheroes. The numbers keep growing. We are so grateful to all of you guys. Thank you. It means so much to both of us. So thank you. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm seeing in the chat. We're starting to get some views occasionally. Yeah. Appreciate that. Everyone, it does with the like and subscribe thing that annoys the hell out of me. But if you like a video that you're watching, it goes into the algorithm. They promote it to more people on YouTube. So definitely appreciate anyone who pushes the button. Even if you want to push the button, like, and then leave a shitty comment. It helps.
Well, let's start with just the press the
about
button.
Lila. About Lila's views.
So, Mr. Jesco, I don't know why that happens. If you like and press the notification bell, it should, but I don't know why that happens.
Maybe we're on their shit list for getting for all our stolen videos.
Definitely have a lot of knocks against us, and I just we've been plucking them out entirely because it's just not worth even trying to appeal. But anyway, it does make a difference, as Pat said. So please do make sure to like and subscribe and smash that notification bell. And
you can just push it. You don't have to smash,
you have to smash it. Do you click it or do you smush it? What did you say? Push it, smush it? Is that the technical?
Push it good. Push it real good.
Yeah, awesome. And wait, I'm just thank you. Okay, I see that. We'll see. It was Bill Maher. Yeah, probably Bill Maher and the Olympics got us axed from YouTube.
Did you see that he just had on the Hawk Tua girl? And
yes. Oh my God.
You could not, the cringe level coming out of his mouth and the lack of a reason for the interview. It's just like, what are we doing here?
He just wanted to like look at some young girl and be lechy and contribute to her 15 minutes of fame. It was creepy. So uncomfortable, creepy. Yeah, that was really uncomfortable. And I mean, normally, you know, he could always be our worst person of the week, but we have a different one today. But first, we should get to a little bit of a cheers because, you know, I don't really love doing the sort of like good Samaritan poverty being, you know, decimated by people, but good porn, like whatever that is, where, you know, you highlight the teacher who has no money and has to walk 3 miles back and forth to school, and then her students come together and get her, you know, a GoFundMe card.
Our society is great because her cancer treatment was paid by, you know, people who can't afford their own bills.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. So this is at a much worse level, but because all the rest of the news coming out of here in our Israel segment is so outrageous, atrocious, grotesque, despicable, this is just a small piece of something nice. It is Hamada Shakura, who is a food blogger on trying to feed kids in Gaza.
الأطفال بشكل عام بيكونوا مبسوطين كتير لما يشوفوني جايب الأكل على هذا المخيم. لو مش حابين تاكلوا فكانوا لحالهم يتمشوا. الأشياء هذه كلها كانوا بس يتخيلوا هم إيش بدهم وأنا أحاول أعمل لهم الأشياء الموجودة. أنا بدأت الطبخ والتوزيع في رفح 6 شهور من الحرب. ايش في السوق اليوم مثلا بشتري اغلب الاشياء اللي بشتريها مساعدات. هو نساعد الاطفال في المخيمات بشكل خاص لان الاطفال اكثر فئه مظلومه في هذا الحرب او اكثر فئه بحاجه لتغذيه وبحاجه انها تاكل اكل نظيف. يمكن الدافع الحقيقي اللي انا بعمل هاي الاكل وبوزعه على الاطفال وبشوف فرحتهم هو ابني نزار. أنا بتخيل إنه لو كان من ضمن هاي الأطفال بتمنى إنه يجي حدا ممكن يسعده زي ما أنا بسعد الأطفال. بعد الاجتياح طبعاً اضطرينا نخلى رفح كلها وصراحة هي لحظات صعبة جداً خصوصاً أنت لحتى الآن صار لك 9 شهور بتجري. طلعنا من رفح جراي وجينا عشان نفكش فيها أي مقومات حياة ولا أي مقومات طبخ. لأنه صراحة ما فيش شيء موجود ممكن أنا أطبخه من غير المعلبات. الوضع في جنوب غزة وشمال غزة بالأخص هو وضع مجاعة حقيقية. بدناش ننسى كمان إنه مهما أطبخ ففي حاجة كبيرة للناس.
So we are now at 300 and I think 5 days. It's horrifying, and we'll get to other stuff. But you know, cheers to him and anybody trying to take care of. So many of those children have lost their whole families. They have no surviving family members, and having to be displaced repeatedly. It's really a beautiful thing that he's doing. And the other thing is, you know, there's always talk about the victims, and most of them or half of them are women and children. And I know we've talked about this before, but it really upsets me that like the assumption is that the men are terrorists or worthy of being, killed or genocided. And so I think, showing the men and pretty much every video I ever see is, also women, but, men taking care of children and animals and each other. And so I, just wanted to say cheers to anybody who can keep any moment of hope alive during these times. So
cheers. And I was going to get depressing, but I'll save it for the Israel section. But appreciate him and all he's doing. When the feel good story we're trying to show you makes me sad and teary, it's like, Jesus.
Yeah.
But, that's where we're at. But cheers.
Cheers. And I don't think any donation, I don't know what's happening with donation packages anymore. And of course, funding to UNRWA has still not resumed. It's banned by the US. We were the biggest supporter, and there has been no shred of evidence of the people who might have been part of Hamas. I think they said in the end there were 12 people. That was the allegation by Israel, and they have yet to come up with a single piece of evidence, and yet the U.S. has continued its prohibition on funding UNRWA. So
it's gross. Nobody cares. Nobody in the government cares. Kamala Harris doesn't care. Tim Walz doesn't care. Or if he does, he doesn't care more than his political ambitions.
Yep.
So
that is the truth. All right, let's spin the wheel and have a little bit of something fun before we get into it all, right? You didn't even have to remind me, Pat. Look at that. Oh, don't look. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Oh, gosh.
Fair warning. I decided for the good of the show, I would not do shots tonight, so I'm just drinking beer. Because I might just pass out on you tonight. Nobody else. Well, you probably do want to see that.
That would actually be awesome. That's a members only. That's the after party.
After dark.
You on the couch, and I'm not even going to do the JD Vance ridiculousness. Okay, here we go. Yes. Spinning.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, look at that. All right, well, I am going to do the shot, but I'm also going to spin again. 1 second. Close. Sorry, it takes.
And by the way,
okay, I'm gonna pour a big one. I almost feel like I should just remove it before this all.
I'll drink some more. If you happen to see my filthy ass nails, I got home and my water was out. So
yeah, baby.
No, it's back. But I was just so scrambled for time because I just got back.
Okay. Forgive me. I'm removing one of those. I am so sorry that your water was out. That's crazy. I am removing.
Well, no, they announced that it was going to be. It was they're fixing the plumbing in the building. So anyway.
My God! But come on. All right.
Yeah, baby.
You're a trooper.
3 for 3.
I am now 4 for 4. Okay. Let me do this one. I keep saying I'm going to do it, and then it's not working. Okay. Close. Amazing. I'm about to have to remove one because this is getting in the way of the momentum, the pace of the show, for God's sake. Okay, there we go. All right, cheers. Perfect.
You did it. All right, let's start out with some cats. Let's do cats.
That was good, Pat. That was very good. And I'm reading some of the comments, and Saul thinks that maybe your girlfriend is watching, which is why you're apologizing for your dirty nails and you're not having shots.
Or my future girlfriend. And I don't want her thinking, I was in, but those nails.
Have some self-respect. And also, I just wanted to say saw all of these comments about, twerking for genocide and Kamala and Yeah, vibing out the genocide is pretty much where we are, which gets us to hashing it out. Let's just get started. There's a lot to talk about.
Fair enough.
That's all great, but I just also wanted to say, Zachariah mentioned also, in addition to your clean nails and not doing shots, you've got a collared shirt on. So all evidence suggests that you're on the prowl. Where our viewers are nothing
Sure.
not scrutinizing the details.
Yes. Well, I was going to put out my bio, but I'm just going to let that go.
Yeah. We're just going to keep adding tiers to membership.
There it is.
Yeah. All right. We're going to start with worst of the week. What an incredible ride this guy
dumpster fire. Yeah, definitely a dumpster fire.
All right. This man used to be considered a real progressive, and was actually, wasn't he let go, removed from a position in
the DNC, I believe.
It was in Obama's administration.
Oh, Obama's administration.
Saying something about, God, now I should have done my research. My day was a little crazy. Saying something that was actually, fairly innocuous, but about somebody who was, like, I think in charge of a farmers group. Anyway, but he was like too lefty and they got rid of him, and he has learned his lesson now, because here is Van Jones re-upping the allegation. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, but they put him out because he earned a little bit of progressive cred. He used to back protests a lot and protesters and be real, he was a big BLM supporter through all of that. Yep. He's very critical of a lot of the Democrats,
right.
He was
the corporate
critical
Democrats. He was incredibly right, which is
he was lobbying for the left and why they should embrace progressive policy. And that guy is long gone.
Yeah. Well, you do not get to be a recurring series regular on CNN or whatever the hell he's on
CNN
without that. So here he is, just adding fuel to the fire that there is deep anti-Semitism on the progressive left of the Democratic Party.
Do you think it was a little risky, though, Van, that she didn't go with Shapiro to kind of lock down Pennsylvania? I mean, yes, David Challenger was saying earlier, just because you pick him as your running mate doesn't mean you automatically win Pennsylvania. But I got to think it would have helped just a little bit.
Hey, listen, the conservatives, the right wing, the Republicans, they were chewing their fingernails down to the knuckle because they were afraid of a Josh Shapiro. They were afraid of a Mark Kelly. They're not as afraid of this new governor because they think they can define him. So here's the challenge you've got in this party. And people don't want to talk about it. We got to talk about it. On the one hand, you have a lot of young people who are concerned about Gaza. You have a lot of Muslims and Arabs and others. They have not felt seen by the Biden administration. You start hearing that genocide joke. That was building. And so those folks needed to have a candidate that they could feel comfortable with. This helps them in that regard. But you also have anti-Semitism that has gotten marbled into this party. You can be for the Palestinians without being an anti-Jewish bigot, but there are some anti-Jewish bigots out there. And there's some disquiet now, and there has to be. How much of what just happened is caving into some of these darker parts in the party? So that's going to have to get worked out. It's going to have to get talked through.
And again, like, I think that, that clip was taken. That's a right-wing site, just because he's reinforcing all of the right-wing accusations.
Right.
Who are these anti-Jewish bigots?
Look, they exist, and there are some that are Democrats, but like pretending they're marbled into the party, like, oh, suddenly all these leftists have gone anti-Jewish bigot. Like, no, that's not what happened at all. But it's always been about Palestine, and
I'm not saying that there aren't anti-Jewish bigots in the world and in the Democratic Party and the Republican Party all over there. Of course, they're bigots, but like, what is he talking about? Like, who are the people? Because who is he talking about actually in our party? Why did I just say that? In the Democratic Party, which I no longer belong to.
It's hard not to. I do that too.
I know, it's terrible.
But yeah, his assumption.
Who's he actually referring to? And who, because anytime that we've seen clips of protests that they were mostly on campus, right? And they were like, oh, the anti-Semitism and Jewish people don't feel safe. And meanwhile, half the protesters were Jewish and they were doing seders or, Shabbat dinner.
Yeah.
Or if somebody did say something either violent or anti-Semitic, right away, a group of protesters would say, that doesn't belong here, you should leave. So like, I don't know who they're just swallowing.
It's a fictional story to prop up the Democratic Party continuing to support Israel, because they're going to be policing the protesters. And that's what he's there for, to say we should police these anti-Semitic protesters, not the actual protesters, which is everybody. I mean, you got a handful there that might be crazy Nazis or something, but they're not welcomed. They're not the reason. Kamala didn't cave to the anti-Semitic group. She caved because she wants to win. That's it. It was a strategic calculation to win, because she knows how unpopular, they know how unpopular this war is.
I think that is a big part of it. I think if it weren't for Shapiro,
the baggage.
Yeah. I mean, covering up for his friend's fiance being murdered, very likely by the friend, and calling it a suicide, that would have been horrific. And so I'm not even sure why there's this whole thing of, oh, people were scared of Shapiro. Yeah, they're scared of the Republicans are scared of losing Pennsylvania, as are Democrats. But come on, that would have been the first thing they pushed. And also, nobody's scared of Mark Kelly in Arizona. Like, what are you talking about?
Crazy guy. Yeah. And his point that Republicans are going to be able to easily define him. Look how they're defining him. Oh, he likes the things that you people like. Like, Republicans are flailing at defining him, because everything they want to put on him is policy that people understand and like. Now he's who
they were pretending JD Vance was going to be. I mean, sort of, right?
Yeah. Right. And Democrats are a little salty, and Van Jones, he might be in the little salty group, because now
2 weeks ago he was sobbing on air when Biden withdrew from his candidacy for this next election, like crying on air. What the hell is going on with him?
Oh,
it's crazy.
I mean, the worst. Yeah. Phony. I mean, if you're a progressive, in no world are you crying about Biden stepping down. Shut up.
By the way, pretty much about anybody stepping down when they so clearly were in late stage dementia or some sort of, addled state. But the other thing that has come out is that I think there was an ad that we were going to show. The mayor of Philadelphia released it on, I think, either Saturday or Sunday. And it's this really glossy, fun ad hyping up Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the fact that Kamala Harris's rally was going to be there. And it was, Kamala Harris for president and Josh Shapiro for vice president. And it was really, well done. And it felt like a campaign video. And now it's being leaked that Kamala Harris was upset about that ad, that she felt like she was getting a little upstaged. Clearly, Shapiro, if you like that sort of thing, is slicker, flashier, has a like very commanding. He does not feel like he is going to play the second fiddle to her at all. That was another. I mean, that's another thing people are saying was part of the reasoning.
I don't know. I mean,
you don't buy that.
You're full of shit, Lila. What are you even talking about?
That's the end of the show.
No,
bye, guys. I gotta go.
That's a wrap. No, I mean, look, they wanted Shapiro. I honestly think for all his slickness, he doesn't have the gravitas and the folksy appeal that Walz does. So Walz,
sure, yeah.
Walz will always outstage her, in my opinion, because he's speaking to what people want. Now it's going to be bullshit. Kamala's latching onto it, like suddenly she wants school programs for kids. She wants all this stuff. Yeah. And just like in the debate, she's going to go, well, it was an election. I didn't do it. It was an election.
Yeah. Election. What do you want from it? Ideology?
Principles? But when we do argue about, when we think if this is good for the left or not, I think Walz is a net positive for the left still, because
then you're going to have to say his name properly.
Walz?
Yeah.
No T? The T is bugging you?
Yeah. It feels like you're doing a Kamala instead of a
Kamala.
Yeah, Kamala.
The new one. Kamala. But I think, look, keeping that leftist policy even as a fake issue on the left, sure, it's going to get people to vote for Democrats and they're not going to do any of it, right?
Right.
But on the other hand, it keeps it in the discourse of like, why don't we have this stuff? You guys said you were running this stuff. You didn't do it. It gives us an opportunity to attack them for shit they didn't do, which wouldn't exist if we had a Shapiro, because they wouldn't be pretending to be left at all.
Oh my God. Okay. I know. Well, I didn't know we were going to get into this part of it so fast. I thought we were going to do all the anti-Semitism part. No, it's okay, because I've been trying to I'm trying to peel back the layers of this. Feels so similar to me about how I feel about like Sean Fain or the fight for the $15 minimum wage. Like, I'm pissed that it didn't pass, but it wasn't enough. And I want, as you said, these ideas out there and talked about, because they are wildly popular. And we will show this in a little bit. They continue to be wildly popular, but nobody's talked about him. Not that he's some like huge progressive. I mean, please, but he's done more than Kamala has done good for people. But if she loses, they will say it's because she went left, which is what they would do anyway. They'll never say that like, oh, Claire McCaskill was far right, that's why she lost. No, they're going to say, Cori Bush, Jamal Bowman. They'll pick out the people who lose. Yeah. That's and just to bring this back. They always play. Yeah.
To bring this back to Van Jones, just like how Van Jones was this Mr. BLM guy. Come 6 months later, he's like, well, Democrats all lost because they wanted to defund the police, and the people weren't ready for that. Defund the police cost them. And that he'll be out there saying, that's why I said Shapiro. We should have gone with Shapiro.
100%
lefty stuff. I'm a lefty, but people weren't ready for it. Meet the public where they are, or whatever spin he wants to put on it.
I saw the Runs just wrote something about why Pelosi pushed for Walz. A couple of reasons, I think. I think she knew very much what was going to happen by Republicans if it were Shapiro. He's got a lot of baggage, number one. Number two, and this is unfortunate, I think, for anybody who thinks that this is going to be some great progressive administration if they win, when Walz was in Congress, he was incredibly supportive of everything Pelosi did. So I think that they have a friendship, and I don't think that he, fought for or against things that people who think he is some like bastion of progressive hope would hope that he had.
I think there's a difference between, first off, as governor, you're largely you can be independent of the party. Like you become governor. It's not like being a senator or a congressperson. It's almost like you're the president of the state. In essence, right? So it's a little different, and you're not bucking heads on national policy. Like almost on a national level, Democrats don't give a shit. Like, can you vote for us in 2024. Can you bring us some votes? That's kind of the extent of it. You know, that's why they, you know, you got Joe Manchin's out there. Like, they don't care. But can you bring your people to our vote? Well, I don't care what your policies are, whatever.
Right.
But now he's in a different position to where the big donors are like, oh, no. So do we have examples of him pushing back against the Democratic Party? I don't think so. So they might exist, but I haven't seen him yet. So if he hasn't shown the gumption to push back against the Democratic Party, look what fucking happened to Bernie.
Yeah. I mean, I think, okay, why don't let's continue with the Van Jones stuff, because there is so much to say about all of the different policies and where he actually stands and all of that. But let's just go back to Van Jones, sorry, Walz, Van Jones, parroting this ludicrous, accusation of anti-Semitism, which, again, I do just want to show that two sources confirm on background the deciding factor in the VP's choice was what Fetterman said publicly concerned Shapiro's, that his own personal ambitions would cause him to upstage override Harris. The video Shapiro produced by Philly Mayor Sherelle Parker's team solidified the sentiment on Friday. And then, of course, he says he had no idea about it. There was no communication. He had no idea they were going to do that video, which, haha, very funny. Anyway, but here is what the New York Times started with right away. Harris's choice of Walz over Shapiro mollifies the left, but misses a chance to reassure Jews, as though there are no Jews on the left. Walz instead of Shapiro excites the left, but may alienate Jewish voters. Many Jewish organizations backed Harris's pick for running mate, but beneath that public sentiment is unease over anti-Semitism on both the left and the right. And I still need to see, because what they are saying is that criticism of Israel, I mean, that is what it is. Criticism of Israel is anti-Semitic. Being anti-Zionist is anti-Semitic, and it's not.
It's garbage, obviously, and that they're clinging to this narrative just shows that they're sticking, like, they would let this narrative go if they were going to switch their policy. Exactly. But they need this narrative to keep their policy alive.
Right.
And so, you know, we're back to Walz, but we'll save the Walz stuff. But Van Jones is a piece of shit. He's not a real leftist.
Look who he's aligning himself with. Ann Coulter. Yeah. Governor Shapiro was obviously the best choice for Kamala's VP, but Democrats couldn't upset the anti-Semitic, anti-Israel wing of their party. Must be a pretty big wing. Ari Fleischer. The left did it to Joe Lieberman. Now they did it to Josh Shapiro. The D Party is not home for strong supporters of Israel. It's time for the Jewish community to recognize the power in the D Party rests with its anti-Israel progressive base. Nikki Haley. Democrats going to have to explain this movement towards deeper anti-Semitism. We're seeing it in the protests, in the rhetoric by the squad and members of Congress, and now in the VP pick. They can't talk this away as coincidence. It's concerning. Newt Gingrich. I mean, these are now Van Jones's people. It's amazing that Vice President Harris had a chance to move toward the center, pick her governor of Pennsylvania, who's 19 electoral votes, blah, blah, whatever. Here we go again. We've got Richie Torres, Tom Cotton, right? Seth Mandel. And I just want to remind, he's married to this lady, Bethany Mandel. I guess you can't be on a Democratic presidential ticket and also a Jew in 2024. Well, in 2020, she said, this time around, if it's Bernie, I'm getting a MAGA hat and going to get out the vote. So,
right. And as hard left as we are and saying, you know, I'm not going to vote for him. I'm not saying I'm going out and putting on a MAGA hat and getting people to the polls. Like, if a prominent leftist said something like that, it would make all the news, you know, but here she is just openly saying that. And it's okay because it was Bernie, the Jewish guy.
Yeah.
So like,
and by the way, there's a Jewish candidate right now, Jill Stein. I don't see them all tripping over themselves to go support her. Kamala is married to a Jewish man. Like, this is all so absurd. However, there is definitely some anti-Semitism in the Democratic Party. Just remember this from 2020, swastikas at Bernie's rally, heard nothing about it on mainstream media. On the top right is the cover of Politico when they did a profile about Bernie and all of his, his 3 homes, and they put him next to a mansion on one side and a money tree on the other. Like, okay, sorry, but that's a lot of dog whistling there.
Yeah.
Right.
And look, I mean, I don't want to defend Bernie, but on this one, like, he inherited the second house. It was like it
was a lake house. Well, that's the thing. I mean, like, look at these, like, it's
cabin
so
any
small.
place.
Like, yeah, it's a cabin, and then his 3rd house is a condo in Washington because, like,
all senators and congressmen,
they all have 2 places. And then, but the 3rd thing is on the bottom left. That is Clara Jeffrey, editor-in-chief of Mother Jones magazine, comparing Bernie Sanders to one of J.K. Rowling's banker hobbits, goblins, whatever. And then the bottom middle, that is at the actual 2016 Democratic convention where, it was a little contested when he was still up against Hillary.
Yeah.
The picture of him on that, he looks like a rat. Like it is so anti-Semitic.
Absolutely disgusting. Yeah. But to me, the Clara Jeffrey one is one of the worst ones because your trope doesn't even make sense. You're just tacking on a Jewish money thing to Bernie, but like, he's the one, like, he's not working for the banks. He's working against the banks. He was the guy the whole time doing the opposite of this Jewy character you're portraying him as. Like, he wanted people to have things that the government had to spend money on. Like
exactly
it's the opposite of cheap, or,
opposite of cheap. And also, like, even if he were fabulously wealthy, then he's a class traitor looking out for people who aren't. Like, none of it makes any sense logically, but to pretend that like they use it when they want it, when it's convenient, and it's completely cynical. They do not care. But
it's so transparent when you put these things side to side.
Oh.
When these people change their views every 2 years to fit the narrative, it's the same as Democrats and Republicans in Congress. Like, I can't believe he held up that bill for 7 days and we can't feed the troops. And then the Democrats next 2 years, that bill's holding up the troops. I can't believe the Republicans, it's all the same bullshit back and forth indefinitely, but
yeah. Anyway, just disgusting.
2 coats. Sorry, forgot 2 coats.
Yeah, that's right. And they're expensive too. It's a gift from his son who worked there that he wore over and over and over. And also, by the way, when he wore that coat over and over and over and wore it to Kamala Harris, the
inauguration.
Biden's inauguration.
Biden. Yeah.
Sorry. And people were mad that he was dressed down and that he was just grumpy and wearing his old ugly winter coat, the same one that just months ago they had lambasted him for owning. Now they're saying you didn't dress respectfully enough for the inauguration. Like, they are just a disgusting group of cynical, hypocritical people.
You're depressing me a little bit because I'm thinking about, the Bernie in the chair meme when we still believed in him with the mittens. It was the mittens in the coat.
The mittens in the coat. And they said that was being disrespectful. It was so fancy. Donnie Deutsch, also another guy pushing the whole Shapiro was the one and it's all anti-Semitism. But he's another one who said, after likening Trump voters to Nazis, said that if Bernie were the nominee, he would have to vote for Trump. So,
yeah. And here he is just this week. Let's see the clip.
Somehow suggesting that him being Jewish is a liability is just kind of, we report it. And it's disgusting and it's vulgar. It's reprehensible that you've got far, far, far left people putting out tropes out there about him being Jewish. And by the way, his stance on Israel is no different than any of the other vice presidential candidates. And I just wonder if the moderate end of the Democratic Party suggested that any other minority would not be okay to be running, everybody's hair would be on fire, and rightfully so.
Nobody has said we don't want a Jewish person running. Like, nobody, not one.
None of that.
Ever.
And, Mehdi Hassan did a good piece and pointed out, like, it's not that Walz is some great progressive pro-Palestinian politician, but what he didn't do was try to make BDS the law of the land, try to punish Ben and Jerry for pulling out of illegally occupied West Bank. Did not call student protesters, liken them to the KKK. He actually had a more, and you know, sometimes on some level, it's more dangerous to have a, like with Kamala, like a more sympathetic, open ear to discussion and then turn around and still do nothing. But he presents differently. He is not just
he does
disparaging of it, all of it.
I think the biggest difference, and people are making a lot of this, but it's a big difference. I mean, if you want to vote on the what they say, right?
Right.
He was saying, I think it must have been 8 months before the election, whenever that was, because 8 months is stuck in my head. But he's like, Democrats have 8 months to figure this out. And he's talking about the Gaza policy.
Right.
Gaza
and the
Israel
uncommitted,
policy.
The group of uncommitted is what he's referring to in this. Or sorry,
right,
I
but
think
he was making the suggestion that Democrats, it's vague the way he said it. You could take it to mean they need to change their policy on this stuff, but it also sounded like they need to do better branding to explain to the public, because the public isn't getting why Democrats are doing this. Right. But either way, that message has a little more empathy than everyone's anti-Semitic who's protesting this.
It does. And so one part of this same conversation, he says, these folks are asking for a change in course. They're asking for more pressure to be put on. People are frustrated, but it bodes well for me that they're actively engaged to go out and cast this vote and ask for change, which I think you're right. It's better branding. Like, I hear you, I see you. And yet just yesterday, we saw some of the principal people in the uncommitted or abandoned Biden, voting bloc.
Lead.
Yeah. But it was another woman whose name I don't remember, but said that as soon as Walz understood that they were coming actually to ask for policy change from the Minnesota government, like to divest and to come out for a ceasefire and divesting from Israel, they were turned away. So, again, no one should be under any illusions, but sorry,
I thought you were going to say how many of those people that were part of that are now behind Walz. And I think Walid isn't behind Walz per se, but he's now on board with the ticket, and he was, big part of the supporting these people withholding their votes, but now he's not. And what's changed? This is the guy who wouldn't meet with the group.
The crumbs seem to be sufficient for some people, and that to me is really scary, right? So go ahead. Were you going to say something? I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, we singled out Van Jones on this one just because he deserves it for many reasons, but a lot of people in the media were pushing this narrative of the same narrative, which is straight from the Democratic Party,
right?
Saying, hey, it's a shame that there's anti-Semitism involved in this decision. And so Dana Bash, I was watching CNN and Dana Bash had a discussion with,
I will allow you mispronouncing her name. That's good.
Dana Bash, Bush,
Dana
Bush,
Dana. It's Dana.
Dana Bash.
I want to see this one second. Yeah,
I don't know.
Dana.
But
Dana Bash.
Where I was going with that is she directed. She stopped the whole discussion. They have this new thing where at the end, it's like they did 20 years ago, where they had a panel of people, and it's like, your last thoughts, 1 minute. And they get to say things.
McNeil hour or whatever.
Yeah, final thoughts or something. I don't know what they called it, but she said, I want to just stop and remind people that there's dangerous anti-Semitism involved in this whole thing with Shapiro, and
it's really,
and look, and the Republican person on stage was leading that discussion about that. She interrupted several times to bring it up because the Republicans are trying to paint the Democrats as anti-Semitic over this stuff. That's what they want. They want to say, oh, we're more pro-Israel than you are. You guys are hippies that are going to.
Eric Cantor, how he feels about getting shoved off the stage by his Republican cohort.
but to hear the Democrat pundits also kind of agreeing with this anti-Semitism.
It's really vile.
And the journalist is leading this discussion. I just want to remind everyone.
Yeah. She still talks about mass rape, which we're going to get into in our Israel block. I really can't wait to see this video. Saul, Harris just got protested over Palestine, and she told them to shut up unless they want Trump on stage. I cannot wait to see it. I will search for this. That was Biden's whole tactic. Remember when people who were like, what are you going to do for people at the border? Or, just really vile.
Well, you know what? If we have a long video, and we do, I see some that are long.
Yeah.
I'll go find the video and see if we can get it up.
All right. Well, okay. So let me just, because now
somebody put a Twitter link to it if you have it.
Yeah, we're about to get into. Are we done with just the worst of the week, and now we can get into the couch fucking season? Oh my god!
I'm renaming the election couch fucking season.
The whole thing is one big couch fuck. Oh yeah. Oh god, Pat, you're totally right. But wait, did we? I mean, I know we've kind of exhausted the whole thing, but I just want to make sure there's nothing we didn't show that we wanted to show. Yeah. Okay, we're good.
There's plenty.
There is.
Yeah, baby.
Plenty.
We've been on it too long.
Oh, look at that. I think I have to remove this though, right?
Oh, you're right. We only have one more. So yeah.
All right, I'm gonna remove one of them.
Sorry, y'all. It's cats all night tonight. That's all we got. For the
okay.
part.
Wait, it's not working for me. Okay. All right, you pushing the button?
What? His name is John C.
Is he going to deliver? Sweet. Oh, doble garra.
Y acaban de castigar.
Is he going to deliver? Sweet. Oh,
Watch this. Look at.
Seeing him laugh about it, that wasn't cool, and I just thought it was important.
Like the 15 on that.
you got to be kidding me! How did he do it? Is he going to deliver? Sweet. Oh,
Cats are funny. They're very funny. Thank you for that. That's a good respite, because now I'm right back on my tear. I need some of this.
Before I forget on the cats thing, I can beckon strike once with this cat toy.
What is it?
Does
it have
it's her favorite. It's got a little rattly sound in it.
Yeah.
So remind me to have Strike say goodnight. But I can only use it once because she's gonna run off with it. You know how that works.
Got it. All right. But does it have catnip in it, or is it just the sound of it she likes?
It's just the sound, yeah.
All right.
Rattle.
All right. So let's see what happened with the amazing bump. Yeah, in our couch humping season. Yeah. So Harris is now winning independents, something Biden was not doing. Harris is up 9 points with independents, 53% to 44%. She was down 14 points with them last month. Now, of course, that's the general election polling. Let's check in with the swing state polling. I mean, yeah. So here's the reality of this whole situation.
Oh, I thought you had some words of wisdom. You're just like,
I was
look at this
stage for you, Pat.
I want you to meditate on this map.
Meditate while
for the next 5 minutes until
I know I'm just pouring myself a little extra.
Until Buddha speaks to you or something.
Yeah.
But absolutely. Look, clearly she got a boost out of this pick, out of her nomination, out of not being Biden. Can this grow? Yes. Right. But it has to grow a lot to change the dynamics. And we haven't seen, the public hasn't been informed about Kamala at all yet. Like nothing.
Not at all.
And in fairness, Trump is completely dropping the ball so far with this Kamala stuff and
oh my God,
all the attention's on couch fucking, which
he's like out of his control. All of a sudden, he is not controlling the narrative anymore, and he does not know what to do about it. It's really funny, actually, to see.
Yeah, but look, if I was a real hardcore Democrat, I guess I would lean into like, yeah, the couch fucking, yeah, we got them with the couch fucking. It's great. They're getting to taste their own medicine. But really, it's a gross place for our politics to be that you made up this narrative. It's a fabricated narrative,
right?
Completely fake. And you got the VP candidate out in public making jokes about this made up fucking couch thing. Like it's pretty like fucking gross.
Bar is beneath the basement. I can't stand it. It's so bad. And without doing, and like, she's not done a sit down interview.
Oh,
she hasn't had to answer any questions. I mean, so bad that like, what's his name? JD Vance comes out like their planes were on the tarmac at the same time. He and his whole posse approaches the press corps and says, hey, I'm really sorry that Kamala hasn't made herself available to you. He looks over at the VP plane and says, oh, that's going to be my plane in 6 months or whatever. Do you have any idea why she might not answer these questions? And of course, they're not going to say anything to him because they're not supposed to be the story and they probably prefer Kamala. But it is like, we have not heard a single policy. So they can trot out Tim Walz and say like, oh, look, we're giving, this is our concession.
He's
to the
funny. He's
left.
Got a sense of humor. He's
right.
Like,
or even like he is,
and
he's
you're not wrong, but it's gross. It's because you're hiding all the policy discussion.
And right. Because she doesn't embrace those policies. She's been very clear. She will no longer is in favor of banning fracking, no longer Medicare for all. She's all the same, she said, as Biden on Israel and Israel's right to defend itself. And it's not like she's going to bow down to Tim Walz's policies that he did in Minnesota.
Well, he's such a popular VP. I got to adopt everything he said and not all the donors that are paying me, my campaign $200 million. No, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. And right now, even like grassroots donors it is all vibes. They are loving all of this, right? 24 hours. Go ahead.
No, read it, please. I'm sorry.
24 hours since Kamala Harris asked Tim Walz to join the ticket, her campaign has raised $36 million from 450,000 donors, more than a third giving for the first time. The top profession was teachers. Like, I mean, I would love this if they actually were standing for, like when Bernie was doing it and it was like teachers and service members and regular people, it was really inspiring. This is not inspiring because what does she stand? Like, what are they excited about with her?
I think the most annoying thing to me was seeing, sort of progressive leftist media or personalities online, wherever you want to call a lot of people, showing only the clip of Walz making the couch quip when they did the speech together the other night and basically saying like, this is where they won the election. Oh, they just won the election.
Yeah.
You were fighting for Palestine and protesting Joe over it like last week. And now you're like, we just won the election because we're calling the other VP a couch fucker. Like no policy, no concessions. What are you doing?
I mean, it is really just all so embarrassing. Nobody's talking about any policies. I mean, this is Kyle Klinsky talking about all of his policies in Minnesota, which were amazing. Like the thing that they did in Minnesota that was truly amazing was with a one-person majority. They said, this is our mandate. They didn't say we have to reach across the aisle to the right. We're going to do this because it's popular, it's right, and it's good. And then let's see how the public feels about it. And they like it. And here is, Bernie once again trying to tell them and her, Kamala, that she needs to run a progressive economic agenda. He commissioned this poll done by Data for Progress. Oh God, it's all so small. Here come my readers. This was from last week. It was from July 26th to 29th. Okay. This was only done amongst the 6 swing states: Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. Every single one of the policies I'm about to read were majority popular for everybody, for independents, for Republicans, and for Trump voters. Medicare to cover dental, vision, hearing. Cutting the cost of prescription drugs in half. Expanding Social Security benefits by making the wealthy pay the same tax rate as the working class. Making wealthy and large corporations pay their fair share of taxes. Instituting a cap on rent increases, $55. Establishing a Medicare for all single-payer healthcare system. Sorry, I lied. A couple of these I'm looking at were not majority popular in these 6 states with Republicans and Trump voters. Yes, with overall, yes, with independents, but I'm looking down at the second 2, and there are a couple that are in the 40s and even in the 30s. Well, fuck them. They don't deserve it anyway.
Look,
yeah. Eliminating medical debt. Yeah. I mean, they're all like, yeah.
If a policy gets 40% of Republicans on board, like,
right,
you have to weigh the benefit because you're pleasing your base.
Right.
And 40% of the other team likes it. Like, they're not going to fault you for it. And then when those people benefit from that program, they're going to go, okay, I'm more likely to support some other Democratic shit that I didn't, 40% of the other side supporting a policy is like, oh, the world supports this policy, basically.
Right. Yeah. And those independents that you're always, saying that you need to get, they also want those policies. Yeah, I mean, it is all just vibes. Abandon COVID when you feel safe or when the Dems tell you to. Sorry, I'm looking. I want to read all of this before I put it up. Garrett, we haven't seen any policy yet, but Walz is attacking right-wing framing of basic shit like, universal lunches. We haven't seen reframing like that since Bernie. And before that, not in decades. I mean, I do agree. He's not willing to just, he says socialism, we call that being neighborly. Like, you look out for each other, which, by the way, like, it's very Christian value, right?
Yeah, no. And he is great at that. Just bringing it back to, like, not Democrat, not Republican, not communist, not like, he's good at that. And that's the appeal to working class people on the right, for sure. But the danger is that we got Kamala out there saying, child tax credit, but they can't pass it because they're not going to get a majority. So they're not going to push for it. None of this stuff is going to happen. Yeah. So it's good that it's in the narrative and we're changing minds on it, I suppose. But believing the Democrats are going to push for this shit nationally just because he did in his state is delusional.
Yeah. Well, and as the run says, like, Bernie barely spoke out about these things for almost 4 years.
Yeah.
And
a VP, they say a VP candidate is supposed to do no harm. Once you're actually VP, you need to shut the fuck up. Like, you are not allowed to say anything. Like, you can't have an opinion that differs or you won't have a future in the party. You're done.
I mean, they're telegraphing that that's the reason she chose him. They're saying it. Right. They're saying that's the reason.
He's a shut the fuck up guy.
Yeah. He is going to toe the line and be my lackey and do exactly what I say, which is hilarious because she's going to just do what her donors say. I mean, like, this is actually the dream for this whole disgusting team. The last one I just want, so this was reestablishing the child tax credits, which Biden let go. And then minimum wage, 17 an hour. Like, why not say 25? Why is it 17? That's not even enough for any city in this country. $17 an hour is not a living wage. Why would they put that out there?
Yeah.
That's really upsetting.
$17 an hour as a wage. You cannot rent a studio apartment on your own anywhere in the country on average.
And they're asking, she sits there in her $62,000 Tiffany's necklace asking for donations. Lady, you've got plenty of donations. Go do a thing. Like, show us a policy. The hell do you need a donation for? And then right when, what's that meme about, when the worst person in the world is right about something? Yeah. This is that, but he's never right about anything, is Jonathan Chait. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz need to pivot to the center right now. Does Harris really understand the assignment?
Yeah. And look, there's probably very strong internal turmoil about, do we let Walz push for this leftist sort of stuff? Do we let him talk about it and discuss it, or do we squash it? But I think what happens is, look, Kamala wants to win first and foremost, and the people supporting bribing, basically Kamala, want her to win too. So they may not be offended by her faking left to get elected, right? But then there are also people who are like, we can't let this narrative go left, so we need to shut that down. And that's Jonathan Chait, and he's done that for the last 10 years. He's just a guy who's like, hey, the best VP ticket would be a Republican.
Yeah, exactly. He and Aaron Sorkin. But then he'll be like, listen, I'm as left as they come. But that's what they always say. I'm as left as they come. Like, I like these policies, but they'd never be winning policies.
Yeah.
Why not? Have we tried them? Because we've tried all the other ways, and the whole country is destitute. So what are you even talking about? Here she is. What is this? She's touting her record on the border policy is tougher than Trump's. Awesome.
And just look, this is her now. Like when we said she's going to run tough on the border, tough on crime, she's doing it in front of our face. Now she's latched onto him to pretend she wants to feed kids and stuff.
Right. But, one of the things that the left, like true left people, so obviously the genocide in Gaza and the West Bank, Palestinians, they just released Kamala headquarters a video or a recording of Trump calling Tim Walz to thank him for the way he brought in the National Guard on protesters in Minneapolis right after George Floyd was killed. So they are using that. And by the way, it was a mess of a rollout. There were horrible things happening. People were afraid. There were, buildings were on fire. Of course, it's turned out that almost all of that was instigated by like the Boogaloo Boys and outside infiltrators. Walz waited to send in the Guard, which is where the right normally attacks him from. Like, why did you wait? And he wanted to assess the situation, is his response. And then he apologizes for it and says, if there was a problem, it was not rolled out. It did not happen the way it probably should have. And for that, I am sorry. We were all trying to communicate. It was crazy times. Regardless of what you think about any of it, the right is trying to say he didn't do it fast enough, bring in the National Guard against BLM protesters. And Kamala is putting out a video, a recording showing that Trump appreciated what a great job he did. So that's who you're appealing to. Like, that should not feel like it's your party. Those people you should be convincing there's a better way. Not saying, no, we're just like you. Like, what is the rationale? We're just like you.
We tried to build your wall, Trump. We attacked protesters just like you would. Yeah. You were fully on board with how we attacked protesters.
Yeah.
Where's the left in all this? This is the ratchet effect to the right. And this is why this is the dangerous thing about fake left rhetoric. And that has not changed because we have Walz, people.
Yeah.
And I'm going to add the T every time.
You know what? Now I am too. Fuck him, Walz. Yeah. Don't give her cover. That even
build
as
that
you
Walz.
said, she's already. That would have been a better title.
We'll do that. We'll save it eventually.
That's good, Pat. that she's already, as you said, telegraphing, explicitly saying, no. The thing 4 years ago where Bernie pushed everybody to embrace progressive policies because they are universally popular. I'm not doing any of that this time. And that's before she gets in, when they always tack to the right once they're in. She's already saying that now. So,
and that's because we don't have a primary. But the rub is, now that we got Walz, she's going to latch onto this for a bit because she wants to win. You've never seen a more ambitious empty suit than Kamala. So she wants to win. So there's a leaning left in rhetoric, in pretend policy, although she still has no policy page.
Not a single policy.
She's going to do everything to earn our votes, she said, and then 2 days later, after calling insiders, got the vote, and we don't have a policy. Like, how are you? If you're a fucking delegate, like, how do you give your vote to somebody without knowing her policies at all? It's just.
She looks really good in a pantsuit. She wears those stiletto heels. She can read off the teleprompter. It's
I would give you
vibes
that she reads okay off a teleprompter, but look, I want to see this video from tonight. I hope somebody DM'd it to me, and I'll cut the clip and put it up tonight. But
just like going to what happens if you actually do have some principles. Unfortunately, Cori Bush lost her primary yesterday.
Yeah. And how much did the AIPAC spend against her?
Let's see. 1 second.
Oh, we have it.
Okay. AIPAC. Wait, where's my readers?
$8.5 million.
How do you see that? Yeah. Into the race in Missouri's 1st congressional district in support of Bush's rival, St. Louis prosecutor Wesley Bell. Through its United Democracy Project, the pro-Israel lobby group targeted Bush as one of the first members of Congress to call for a ceasefire. Remember, that was contemptible. Wasn't that the word that Karine Jean-Pierre said? Contemptible? A ceasefire. She condemned Hamas for its appalling violations of human rights in killing 1,139 people, mostly Israelis, and abducting hundreds of others. But Bush also infuriated some Jewish and pro-Israeli groups by describing Israel's subsequent attack on Gaza as collective punishment against Palestinians and a war crime, which Yoav Gallant said we're going to do collective punishment. Anyway, here is AIPAC saying, like, taking out an ad or whatever, taking out an ad, running something on Twitter. They're taking out an ad. Congratulations to pro-Israel progressive leader Wesley Bell on your big win against anti-Israel squad member Cori Bush. And isn't that interesting? Almost $3 million have gone towards Wesley Bell. So I don't know.
And that's the direct money, $8.5 million. That is a ton of money spent on a congressperson. I'm sorry, that's like a crazy amount. Like, the idea that that's legal is just nuts. Like, nuts. Oh, Saul sent me the clip. All right.
He sent it to you because I don't see it. Where is it?
Oh, maybe. Oh, DMs. All right. I got it.
Oh, he sent you a DM? Oh, okay.
Wait, is this Kamala destroying a heckler? Is that the one? I don't know.
Probably, because they probably think it's great that she's like, oh, do you want Trump?
Like this? Yeah, we killed it.
She killed it, crushed him, demolished him. Oh, Pat's account. I'm not offended, Saul. It's okay. I think this is payback because I once, what did I do? Ban him?
Send me the good stuff
from the chat. Yeah.
Oh, was he that you accidentally removed Saul? God,
that Saul is the one. I always will so sorry about that. I did not. That was unintentional. All right. Well, while you are
Saul, are you Jewish?
I know. Why is everybody so anti-Semitic against me? While you are doing that, well, let's just show. I'm going to show a quick clip of Cori Bush's response, which is awesome. But then we can go to just as a little bit of a palate cleanser, not really, it's kind of gross, but to the RFK Bear story very quickly. So this is Cori Bush after she finds out that she lost her primary yesterday. This is a little segment of it.
There is nothing that happens in my life that happens in vain. So if this happened, it's because it was meant to happen. And let me say, it's because of the work that I need to do. And let me say this. AIPAC, I'm coming to tear your kingdom down.
Get it.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to say the choice of words with kingdom is not good. Like, I don't know why she decided to say that. Well, it reeks of like, doesn't it? Like kingdom, like Jewish.
I know it. I didn't see that, and I know people are offended. I mean,
I'm just saying
are offended.
You're going to use it against her. Like,
of course they are, but they'd use it against her no matter what. I mean, I think that's the thing is like, we all really need to understand AIPAC has so much financial power over our government that, as we always talk about, you can say disparaging things about Biden, about the US, about any politician, about any other country. If you say anything negative about Israel's policies, you are deemed an anti-Semite. You have prominent people in our country saying, we're never going to hire you, like billionaires saying, we're never going to hire you at these law firms. Have the National Guard and police force come and attack you brutally. Like, there is something really drastically wrong in our country allowing this kind of influence from a foreign country to buy elections and to dictate and go against some of the fundamental values, principles, constitutional rights that the U.S. enjoys, supposed to enjoy.
Okay, I mean, just as a thought experiment.
Yeah.
Because I'm a philosopher.
You're a big thinker. Yeah.
But imagine Iran putting $8.5 million into a race.
Or Russia. Russia put $100,000 into Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, China, like TikTok is going to be banned, the most popular social media in this country. I mean, they won't be ultimately, they'll work something out, but like because of Chinese influence. And here we are just buying politicians in the open, and the people that bought them are bragging that they bought them.
Yeah. It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
By the way, I have the Kamala clip. Should we watch it?
Yeah, let's see it. I can't wait. Thanks, Sal.
I keep cutting you off. It's the beer. I had such a long day, Lila.
Have a shot.
It's just that.
It's all good. It's all good.
Let's watch together for the first time. Whatever it was put out there as Kamala owning a heckler, basically.
Owning. I love it.
He intends to surrender our fight against the climate crisis, and he intends to end the Affordable Care Act. You know what? If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that. Otherwise, I'm speaking.
Do not go back. So I couldn't hear what the heckler said. Did you hear?
I don't know. It must have been, free Palestine or something like. Yeah. So we're doing this from the top out in the open. It's not even surrogates. It's like, if you want the other guy to win, criticize me or criticize policy, and you want the other guy to win. You're helping Putin. You're helping Trump. We're doing that from the presidential level now. You might as well, because your VP's out there pushing this couch fucker and the other guys are weird. You know, this is. So where does this go? Like, say this is okay and it works. We're going to have a Trump next time. The left, I mean, the left, the Democrats, not the left, are going to have. You're going to run with the person who's the douchiest, like got the biggest burns. The biggest burn person on the left is going to become president every time. And it's going to be the biggest burn on the left versus the biggest burn on the right. And that's what we got.
That is all it is. I mean, it really is. It is 100% vibes, kayfabe, wrestling. I mean, it just. And what is her like? Yeah. I want to know what was said, and also just from like, okay, Obama was a big joke. Didn't do any of the things he said he was going to. No, that's not true. He did a couple things and like had some good window dressing, whatever. But like, the way he would handle that in the crowd felt like what a democracy should be. Like, but then he got tired of that and he was like, "Don't boo, vote, shut up." And now that's all anybody does. They're all Trump now. I mean, honestly, they're all Trump. Yeah. We're going to make fun of you. We're going to call you couch fucker Vance. We're going to say, oh, then you want, you're weird. Like it's a cackling Kamala, Sleepy Joe, corrupt, or what was Hillary's thing? Whatever. I
have such a blind spot because I have such PTSD from people talking about Hillary shit forever.
I've lived there now.
Crooked Hillary.
Thank you. 8 years. I can't get past it. I really can't.
But like, okay, the squad. You got AOC out there just today tweeting, criticizing JD Vance because he's sitting with his legs spread open on the couch. Why is he sitting that way? It's a couch thing. Like progressives, you should be pushing your party left, not saying, oh, I'm leaning into this couch thing. Like Kamala just became president. Go girl, Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize we had to grab.
So stupid. It is so puerile. It has nothing to do with anything that people in this country and in this whole world need. It's the Instagram vibe candidacy. And at first I thought it was charming in 2018 when she was like, I don't have a suit that's appropriate to wear to Congress, so I got to go get one. Or this is or I'm making my ramen or, mac and cheese. And like, there was something about that felt real and down to earth to gullible, naive me in 2018. And now it's all just vibes. It's all just vibes. There's nothing that they know that's a lie. They know that was not in his book. And by the way, again, like, I don't even give a shit if it is. Like, are you making fun of people for masturbating when they're teenagers? Like, what are you talking about? Like, there are whole movies about, fucking a pie and a sock and anything that moves or doesn't move. And like,
oh, and they're running on also JD Vance was a nerd when he was younger. He was a nerd. Like, okay, he was a nerd, but like, and he looked like a dork. So you're putting out his picture as a dork. But like, okay, you're AOC, you're fairly attractive. Like, is this where we're going with this stuff? AOC didn't do that. So I don't want to put that on AOC. Right. But like
whoever did, probably like a, Democratic
These
Party
are things we don't like. You're calling him weird and the Republicans are weird. So look at him. He looked weird when he was younger. Your voters look weird. America looks weird. Everybody isn't a fucking glamorous person. Like, what is wrong with you running on this shit? And it's all cover for not having a fucking policy platform.
No platform. And which is, half the things that Trump says are just to own the libs and make them mad because it riles up his base, which is gross.
We're doing that now.
And that's what Dems are doing. I like that you put yourself in a we. It's hard not to do it because for such a long time I felt that. But yeah, I'm never again.
Which is weird because I haven't voted Democrat in so long. But just like I reversed the doors of my fridge and I'm still not used to it.
Yeah.
So I try to open the fridge. I'm like, why is it stuck? Why is it stuck?
Some adjustments. Okay. This I will say is a little weird. No, I'm kidding. But this is a little weird. So
there's weird.
RFK Jr., who I don't even know where he lands in all of this. I mean, is it worth showing the whole bear story with Roseanne, or is it just talk about it?
I mean, we can laugh. Yeah, show it.
Okay,
you should see it because it's like, first off, Roseanne Barr was a hardcore Bernie person and a lefty, and we were mutuals for a while even. But then she, kooky. I don't want to challenge her.
No, I'm kidding. Now I'm going to do it too.
Shit going on with her. Yeah. She's not right. She's not right.
Something's going on here. But
she's the viewer. He's telling the story.
She's what?
She's the person he's telling this story to.
Yeah.
Randomly being filmed on it. Like, hey, let's just put Roseanne Barr in here.
I know. So ridiculous. But also it's because I think he had revealed it in an interview that was about to come out. So now he's telling his friends at this dinner party, right?
No, what happened was, I don't know what paper was going to leak the story. They contacted him and said, we have this story. We're going to go roll with the story. And so he's trying to get ahead of the story with this video. Okay.
So here we go. This is RFK Jr.
I was taking a group of people falconing up in Goshen, New York, up in the Hudson Valley. And I was supposed to meet them there at like maybe 8 or 9. I was driving up maybe, really early, like 7. And that woman in a van in front of me hit a bear and killed it, a young bear. So I pulled over and I picked up the bear and put him in the back of my van because I was going to skin the bear. And it was very good condition. And I was going to put the meat in my refrigerator. And you can do that in New York State. You can get a bear tag for a roadkill bear. And so then we went hawking and I had the bear in my car. And then we had a really good day and we went late. We were catching a lot of game and the people really loved it. So we stayed late, and instead of going back to my home in Westchester, I had to go right to the city because there was a dinner at Peter Luger's Steakhouse. And at the end of the dinner, it went late and I realized I couldn't go home. I had to go to the airport and the bear was in my car and I didn't want to leave the bear in the car because that would have been bad. So then I thought, at that time, this was a little bit of the redneck in me. There'd been a series of bicycle accidents in New York. They had just put in the bike lanes. And saw a couple of people had gotten killed, and it was every day, and people had gotten badly injured. Every day it was in the press. And so I thought, I wasn't drinking, of course, but people were drinking with me who thought this was a good idea. And I said, I had an old bike in my car that somebody had asked me to get rid of it. I said, let's go put the bear in Central Park and we'll make it look like he got hit by a bike. It'll be funny for people. So everybody thought that's a great idea. So we went and did that, and we thought it would be amusing for whoever found it or something. The next day, it was like, it was on every television station. It was the front page of every paper, and I turned on the TV, and there was like a mile of yellow tape, and there were 20 cop cars. There were helicopters flying over it. And I was like, oh my God, what did I do? And then there was some people on TV in Tyvek suits with gloves on lifting up the bike, and they were saying they're going to take this up to Albany to get a fingerprinted. And I was worried because my prints were all over that bike. Luckily, the story died down after a while, and it stayed dead for a decade. And the New Yorker somehow found out about it, and they're going to do a big article on me, and that's one of the articles. So they asked me, the fact checker said, it's going to be a bad story. Right?
I think it's a great story.
Every part of that is so weird that this multi-millionaire is going to eat roadkill and then decides to frame a biker for it. And on a Tuesday afternoon, he's going hawking or whatever the hell. Like, what?
Yeah. So,
and I know he's support. I just like, honestly, I don't understand anything about his appeal on any level.
So the idea, look, if he had taken home a roadkill bear,
right,
and used it as meat, like that's conservation. That is a good thing to
you're
do,
right.
right?
All right, you're
okay,
right.
No, I'm just saying.
No, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
But to put it out there that we were going to do the good thing, and then we were like, we're all drunk. Let's just frame bikers. Let's make it look like a biker did it, and and then the government spent probably $100,000. No, probably way more than $100,000 investigating this thing.
Yeah, we have a clip of a news story from the time of them, like what is going on. It's sort of horrifying. Also, like they used they found a bike and put it there so that it looked like it was a biker. Yeah. I mean, they're just like planting evidence. I don't know. Is that a federal crime?
But he also went out of his way to try to portray a normal scene. Like, he's a regular Joe, right? That's the idea, because he's like falconing. First of all, I don't know what falconing is. I guess it means hunting birds, but like, I think of falcons as birds you don't shoot. So I don't know. I don't know what that is. But then, they got someone walking in the background with a baby. That's not an accident. None of it's a baby. Canning the food isn't an accident.
Right.
It's all choreographed. But what makes you a normal person with Roseanne Barr in your fucking kitchen? Like, what is that? And why are you dropping this steak place and
some fancy dinner at whatever? I don't even know that
fucking
place, but
nutty.
Everything about him is just gross.
So what's a clip? I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I mean, it's just from the time, and it's not even like, who cares? It's not interesting. But like, as you're saying, like, actually, municipal money was spent trying to solve a crime or mystery or whatever, when he could have just been like, we found that like so many resources could have been saved, just being honest and like not trying to frame a non-existent biker. And I don't know somebody put like he did with his hand, like he had the bear's hand in his mouth or something. Like, it's just so weird.
If you're gonna
weird
story, you say, look, that was 20 years ago, 10 years ago. I feel terrible.
Yeah.
It was a weird situation, but you don't go like, let's see how they spin this one. Like, you idiots, when I fucking framed bikers for a bear we killed because we were drunk.
Yeah.
Like,
he wasn't, he said he wasn't drinking.
Yeah. Oh, he wasn't. They all were.
Yeah. All right. I think we're in bad shape for 2024, but we should move on.
Yeah, we're out of time. We need to get some other stuff. Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Oh, did I do that, or you did it at the same time? Okay, here we go. Oh, Nelly. Okay, thanks. Good.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, baby.
Lots of shots there. I mean, I'm having a ton of wine, so I'm gonna have the shot, but also remove it and spin again. Give me 1 second. Okay. If we don't have puppets, let's just do a timeline cleanse.
Timeline cleanse? All right.
Yeah.
Did you have a preference on those? What do we got? We got
doesn't matter.
Let's show the kitties that you pulled.
Correct.
It worked! It did!
أولى خطيرة والهدف الأول.
Go.
He was coming to do it.
Oh wow!
Hi.
Nighttime. It is nighttime.
She squared up.
The bug, do you have a
What bug? Get it. Get it.
Being a parent is not for the faint of heart. Oz, thank you. Gifting
Cheers, Oz. Appreciate
another
it.
membership. Thank you so much. That really means a ton. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Cheers.
Oop. My rattle strategy, since we had puppets,
yeah,
she came over and just found it. So here,
look at that.
Let's see what happens. Oops, she's salty.
Oh, she's not coming.
Sorry, she's about to pounce from below. We'll see what happens. This is an experiment. Get it, get it, get it. Sorry, I'm making everyone suffer through what I do at home.
I feel like maybe you need a refund from your trainer, from your cat trainer.
Strike, right here. Bring it.
All right, we are moving on.
It's my show.
No,
she's up. She's here.
Well, she came. That's pretty good.
Right, anyway,
that's pretty good.
Go ahead, Strike.
All right, moving on. We are well, it's not day 300. I think it's day 305 of an ongoing genocide that has been completely subverted in the national consciousness by a vibes campaign of some woman wearing a pantsuit and heels. It's just the most amazing thing to see. I'm not sure where we want to start with this. The rape stuff has been sort of the most prominent. Before there could have even been any collected evidence, Israel said Hamas committed mass rape as a weapon of war. They collected no evidence for this at all, even though Zaka especially, which was the sort of like private emergency response unit, very far right, has had many pedophiles and rapists in its, I shouldn't say many. The head of Zaka, the founder, was a mass pedophile rapist who was let go. But there seems to be a very strange, I don't know, there's something about rape in some part of a culture that they keep coming back to in a really strange way. Like even so far as like US Jewish pedophiles or people who like Brett Ratner, who was caught like doing things or having videos that he shouldn't have, like, you're welcome in Israel. Like that it's become a safe haven for American Jews who are accused of some of the most horrific crimes. At the same time that we were hearing that there was a group of people going out to the remnants of people who were killed on October 7th and collecting semen for their wives. We were also being told that the women who were raped, they had not collected any evidence from. So there are just a lot of battling narratives. The one that has persisted and been amplified by the US is that Hamas uses rape as a weapon of war. It's been repeated by Dana Bash, by Jake Tapper, by Kamala Harris, by Biden, by the New York Times.
If you watch mainstream media, you'll hear it this week. It's thoroughly debunked, but it is still being told on television every week.
Yeah. The flip side of that, which is truly horrifying, is that there are decades of evidence and testimony, both by Palestinian victims and by IDF soldiers or soldiers from before it was called IDF, talking about the way they used rape to humiliate and destroy the minds and souls of the Palestinians they were dominating. No, go ahead.
On one hand, you got the news saying still to this day that Palestinians had this rape strategy and That's why they're savages, as Zaina's pointing out. But that's the Hasbara. The Palestinians are savages. They're the worst people. They're monsters, animals, rapists.
Which is what they use to justify a genocide, which, by the way, I know we all know this, but even if the Hamas people who came over had done mass rape, it still doesn't justify the response from Israel.
But meanwhile, not being covered from our media is that is like 10 Israeli soldiers or something, were credibly accused of rape, and they are protesting to release the Israeli people want these people released because they're being charged with rape. And concurrently, their government is debating, is it okay to rape Palestinians? And
some
of them are saying it is. There's
TV.
You can't do anything.
Right. Okay. Right.
They're not people.
We talked about this last week about the raid and the sort of civil war happening between two factions of Israeli security forces, one of whom was coming to arrest a few soldiers accused of one rape, which is a joke because we know there have been many more than that. Basically to offset the ICJ's case against Israel for crimes against humanity and war crimes. And then the group of rabid soldiers, IDF members, protecting the guards who are accused of rape. Just to take it back a step, so the UN just came out with another report. And, we saw this, was it Josh Paul, very early on, talked about how anytime any human rights organization tried to bring forward credible evidence of IDF soldiers raping Palestinians, men, women, girls, boys, that organization would be smeared as anti-Semitic and defunded, pressured to silence, all of that. UN special procedures, alleged torture and sexual violence in Israel's Sde Taiman prison, grossly illegal and revolting, and only the tip of the iceberg. Israel's escalating use of torture against Palestinians in custody is a preventable crime against humanity. Reports of alleged torture and sexual violence in Israel's, I'm going to say this wrong every time, Sde Taiman prison, are grossly illegal and revolting, but they only represent the tip of the iceberg. Israel's widespread and systemic abuse of Palestinians in detention and arbitrary arrest practices over decades, coupled with the absence of any restraints by the Israeli state since October 7th, paint a shocking picture enabled by absolute impunity. Around 9,500 Palestinians, including hundreds of children and women, are currently imprisoned, around 1/3 without charge or trial. Another unknown number are arbitrarily being held in detention facilities and ad hoc camps, following a wave of arrest and abduction campaigns across Palestinian territory that targeted men, women, and children, particularly following October 7th. Experts received substantiated reports of widespread abuse, torture, sexual assault, and rape amid atrocious, inhumane conditions, with at least 53 Palestinians apparently dying as a result in 10 months. Countless testimonies.
Palestinians dying of rape. I mean, we're not talking about murders. We're talking about they died of rape. That's how atrocious these conditions are. I'm sorry.
No, yeah. I mean, women, and then speak of detainees in cage-like enclosures, tied to beds, blindfolded and in diapers, stripped naked, deprived of adequate health care, food, water, and sleep, electrocutions, including on their genitals, blackmail, and cigarette burns. In addition, victims spoke of loud music played until their ears bled, attacks by dogs, waterboarding, suspension from ceilings, and severe sexual and gender-based violence. This CCTV footage was just released by one of the national channels, Israeli Channel 12, using shields while inserting an object into the rectum of a Palestinian detainee at the Sde Taiman detention camp. The victim sustained severe injuries, including a torn rectum, broken ribs, and ruptured bowels, leading to hospitalization, which leads to a debate on Channel 12 whether Palestinian detainees suspected of terror should be raped. It's what they all deserve. And secondly, maybe it will also serve as a deterrent. It's a very worthy revenge. Just a shame we don't do it in an institutional manner. This is the result of
you
the
literally
call-in.
do.
Yeah. Do you agree with the statement that a soldier is allowed to rape a shackled terrorist? Yes, 47%. No, 43%.
This is Nazi Germany level shit. It's a culture that is taught to people over there. It's okay. It's dehumanizing. And for the US to still be in the face of all this evidence, pretending none of this is happening, is just, we are as guilty as them.
It is so vile. It's been going on for decades. They've known about it for decades. And as we said on Sunday, they even say the soldiers who were accused of doing this, the 9, even though it's, dozens and dozens more over decades, say that they were defending themselves against a shack. We have the right to defend ourselves. Mehdi Hassan has started, he was basically fired from MSNBC, and he started his own platform called Zateo, and they've just produced a documentary. I'm really looking forward to watching it. It was released today, but he also had, he has different segments. Some of them he has people on and they try to be a little lighter. Like he had Bassem Youssef on, and
I saw that.
Yeah, which is great. This is one sort of like subdivision where he had Naomi Klein interviewing Rula Jabril. I'm probably saying her name wrong, and I'm really sorry. Talking about the ubiquity of sexual assault and rape by Israelis against Palestinians, and how it's just known. It's not even to say it's like what's it called? The secret that everybody knows, whatever. Anyway, this is part of that discussion, which is, trigger warnings and all that, but I think we all should hear it. Oh yeah, go ahead.
You don't have 53 people die of rape without it being okay that they're raping.
One of the men had something stuck so far up his rectum, it injured his lungs. And we saw people with broken ribs.
Yeah, and obviously it's not okay to anybody, period, ever. I mean, we don't need to caveat that.
Yeah.
But also on top of that, these are not people found guilty of anything. These are illegal detainees. They're illegally jailed without trial, without anything. They're just all guilty because they're Palestinians.
They're hostages. Yeah. And some of them are children. I mean, it doesn't matter. Man, woman, child, it's all awful, but it is so pervasive. So this is a short clip.
I grew up in an orphanage that was established immediately after the Nakba in 1948, actually immediately after the massacre of Deir Yassin. And somebody who grew up by and was raised by women who actually the survivors of those massacres, who were my teachers, my mentors, all of these women talked explicitly about the use of rape as a weapon of war in multiple occasions, whether in villages like Deir Yassin or Tantur and others. But it shook me. When I heard it from them, I understood the trauma, and I wanted to process the experience and think and understand if it was a one-off, until I saw documentaries where Israeli soldiers who fought in 1948 and belonged to the Irgun and the Haganah and other Israeli terrorist organizations and underground militias literally bragging about how they watched rape and raped women and girls and men. And it was obvious that these two testimonies from rapists and from the victims came together. Then I grew up, obviously, I was living in East Jerusalem during the first Intifada. And I remember one of the tools was rounding up children at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I remember in 88, 89, the army would come to our neighborhood where I went to visit my dad in the Muslim quarter in East Jerusalem, and they would round out hundreds of people, hundreds, especially children. They basically will abduct those children, and they will bring them to Al-Maskubiya, the famous notorious torture center. We all heard the stories because many boys, 13, 14, 15, 10, 9, whatever, they all would go back, and some of them would have to be hospitalized. And they would have to be hospitalized because they were basically, they insert in their rectum objects. When I read the report about this notorious torture center, rape center, of how they would rape these men, it was this story I know very well, because these are the same story I heard from Palestinian boys in East Jerusalem.
So, you know, this is what we're funding. And this is what we're, not we, but this is like, nobody's talked about Israel right now on mainstream media. All they're talking about is the Vibe campaign. And this is happening every day, like every day, another tent city of refugees who have been displaced, 9, 10 times now, is being bombed. And they say, oh, we're looking for another, Hamas operative. They just did their surgical assassination of Haniyeh. And by the way, the recruiting of new Hamas members is ever growing, because why wouldn't it be? Like, of course, everybody must want to join the resistance.
And obviously, where this leads, aside from the tragedies in Palestine, is now we're getting pulled into war with Iran. And
Israel's bombing 3 countries at the same time. They're bad neighbors.
Look, all the countries, the Persian countries and whatnot, the Ayatollah Khomeini tried to pull them all in together against the U.S. at one point, and Israel was strong enough and had enough international support to kind of stop the consolidation of the groups. And then we got behind Israel and funded them more, and so that's where we're at. But now all these countries are unified against Israel and the U.S. And when Israel is attacking these countries and we're defending them, we're going to war with all the countries in the Middle East.
I mean U.S. troops are being sent there now,
and they're in the right. And you got China backing them now. Yep. You got Russia backing them now. So China's the good guy, Russia's the good guy, and the public in the U.S. is seeing this, and they're realizing we are the bad guys here, and the world is seeing it. So our empire, which needs to fall anyway, but like, we're in such rapid decline right now, economically, on every level, and this is exponentially going to amplify that and speed this up. This is bad all around for the U.S., which should not be the top priority. But right. Like, if you're self-interested in this country for how this country is going to do in the future, we have a reckoning to come along with Israel. We do. Our country is going to pay the price for this.
I mean, just think about how people who say, well, they deserve, Hamas deserves it, Palestinians deserve it because they voted for Hamas, which, even though we know like half of them weren't even born the last election, or because of the atrocities of October 7th, they deserve this. What about the atrocities that have happened for the last 305 days? Like, just think about, then what do you deserve after that? And that's not even talking about the 7.5 decades before that, right? I mean, and then you guys, so because I'm about to freeze, I'm sure I haven't yet, knocking on wood. Thank you, Kimmy, super sticker. Thank you so much. And Cora, thank you for the 5 Punch Up Pod memberships. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys.
Cora,
yeah,
love you
thank
too.
you.
Thank you so
Cheers.
much. Appreciate it.
But you know what happened when there was that great article, and we did not delve into it, but Jeff Stein from the Washington Post on American sanctions and how many countries in the world the US sanctions and what violence that is, right? To withhold money, medicine, to force other countries who might want to do business with them or send them medicine to then, because everybody is beholden to the US dollar. But what happened after we provoked Russia into invading Ukraine was BRICS has really gained a lot of power, and that is making the US dollar much less influential, and it's causing the people that the US has sanctioned for decades, destroying their economies, destroying just regular people.
Yeah.
To band together, which, I mean, I agree with you. It's absolutely necessary. And of course, it's none of our first thoughts when we're looking at the genocide, but like, this is going to come back to all of us.
It is. But the thing the US has always done is, for all the atrocities we promote and fund in the world for our own personal interests, we were also the biggest, we would go in and do humanitarian efforts in other places unrelated to the places we're decimating, right? But that is being taken up by all these other countries. China and Russia they're both doing, they're catching up to our China's probably past.
China's way beyond. Yeah. I mean, what has the US done actually building anywhere? We spread freedom by bombing countries.
We're not building the goodwill that sort of cancels out the countries that hate us because we're stealing their natural resources and all this stuff.
Right.
I mean, we are, and then the world is going to look at us as number 2 to Hitler. And that's kind of where we're at with this right now. I mean, they already are, but like, Israel is getting boycotted, and people are stopping, investments in country. They're paying a huge economic cost. I mean, you got millions of people fleeing Israel, first off, and then planes aren't flying there now because of the current.
Zionists. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
so economically, they're devastated.
Economically, they are the like what you're saying, soft power lane. The US no longer has any standing in soft power, and all we export is war. That's it. Hope, thank you. Thank you. We just want to make sure we get to everybody. Cheers. Thank you so much.
But soft power, but also like, I mean, as we always talk about, the US justification for anything we don't like is follow the rule of law, international rule of law. I got to follow the rule of law. And now we got the ICJ and ICC saying, holy crap, this is a genocide. Also, all the occupations going back 50 years, 40 years, I don't know the number. They're illegal, which basically they're calling on the UN to demand everyone in these illegal occupied lands give the land back, and so we're flaunting we don't give a fuck about international law now. So what do we stand on? We're not doing the humanitarian aid we used to. We're not. International law means nothing to us. Russia and China are giving all these people money as they're growing, and we're a weaker global power, so we have less influence and economic issues to trade for things that benefit US citizens, so we're fucked, and we deserve to be fucked. I mean, we don't on our level, but as a country,
we are getting what they deserve. We are getting what the people in power deserve.
Exactly.
And it's hard not to just feel like boiling rage all the time. Okay, so the other thing that I thought was really interesting was, I think a lot of people in this country, but especially in Israel, have been so propagandized that even though they would hear things, even if they heard it like from the New York Times, they wouldn't believe it. But now that IDF soldiers proudly, share their war crimes whether it's, destroying schools and mosques or torturing people, raping people. And then the people in government like Smotrich saying that Palestinians, 2 million should die. That would be really helpful for everybody if they die of hunger. Why not? And on their news channels, the liberal Zionists, and this is where, I see so many correlations between our liberal Democrats, corporate Democrats, enabling the fascism of the right and ratcheting everything to the right. Trump is like the natural culminate, or not even the culmination. It's going to get worse, but then, he's not an anomaly. They've all expression of what capitalism really is. And it's the same thing with Zionism, which I know they're sort of like both offshoots of each other, but the liberal Zionists now coming to terms with the fact that this is happening, but saying, but we need to fight for the good Zionism it's a lot. I mean, there's shadows of it. Obviously, they've gotten to a different level in Israel, but that is what is happening here as well. And watching the realization, I mean, the levels of propaganda in Israel have been going on for decades. And I think a lot of it, when you come to a point where you think you're the only people who have suffered in the world, and you're playing some sort of like suffering, like Olympics of suffering or genocide.
Yeah.
You're negating other people who have also suffered plenty. I mean, like 10 million people in the Congo have been slaughtered this century, right? Nope, we're not even talking about that.
Which I do feel bad that we don't address it, but it's the difference is our country is actively behind everything happening over there. So it's like that's the difference. But yeah, I agree.
That is the difference. And yet you're right. And like also because
we can affect the change to that, and we're not going to get people to switch gears and fight for the Congo if we're funding one and we're not.
But we're also funding what's happening in the Congo on different levels, right? With our I think part of it is that this, and I love doing this show so much, but it is a research project for us every week. Like there's a lot of stuff that we have to catch up on. We're not experts in every geopolitical maneuver, right? So this is taking the focus because it's what's happening in such a blatant way right now. But it is all actually interwoven, as I think we all know. But there is a different way. There's a different path we could all be taking. And
but I did want to bring this back to capitalism at large, because capitalism, your government runs on who benefits now short term. Like everything is short term in capitalism. There's no long-term thinking available in capitalism, because our political leaders want to get reelected. The people donating to them they want bombs, they want wars, they want all this stuff. Like none of it is long-term economic security, because none of this is good for the US. And we're still full bore ahead with something that's terrible for the US completely. But short term, it's good for the politicians. It's good for the donors. It's good for, and the donors that I'm referring to are the military side of the donors.
Yeah. And Wall Street.
But so
like all
their influence is large enough to do
Yeah.
something that benefits them exclusively at the cost of everybody. And the whole world sees it, and the politicians even see it, but it doesn't matter, because all they care about is their short-term success. And that's capitalism in a nutshell. I mean, it's just
100%. 100%. We have to don't smash the notification bell, smash the system. Daniel, thank
both.
you. Smash both. Smash them all.
We're going to rename the smash button the system.
This is smash this. Oh,
the like button is
our third weekly show. We can smash the system. Daniel, thank you so much. 10 Punch Up
Daniel,
Pod memberships. Cheers. Thank you.
Anyway, thanks.
Lynn, thank you so much. You guys, it really is so, like, honestly, it means so much that you guys all come and hang out with us twice a week now. It's really wonderful. Thank you. I don't know. I was just saying that because if we, it's like if you build it, they will come. If we come up with a funny title, we might just have to build a show around it.
I got rent to pay. I don't know if I got a third one in me right now, but
yeah I know.
But
well,
many thanks.
We'll get to that. Okay, so that's it for Israel. I mean, it's not really it, but that's where we are. Okay. It's 7. Should we spin where are we? What do you think?
I think we should still hit COVID. It won't take that long. Okay. Right?
Are we spinning or are we just going to go forward?
No, we got to spin.
We got to spin. Okay. Thank you for, hey, rules-based order. Between each segment, we must spin the wheel.
There must be, we haven't even hit it here.
I know.
Yeah, baby.
We got more James Baldwin.
And we have a gnome. Oh, look at that timeline cleanse. I think I'm removing that, right?
Okay, let's see.
I mean, we're done pretty much.
Some sort of art. Yeah, it's artsy stuff.
I love that. It's so important to find your joy, and I love that. That's good.
Zainab, thank you so much.
Thank you. Now we're going to have to divulge your conflict of interest the next time we have you on to talk about politics. We're like, well, she's also a subscriber. You're awesome. And all you guys, I'm seeing all these like sweet messages. You guys are amazing. Thank you. Really appreciate all of you so much. Seriously. Really.
Absolutely. So COVID,
right,
let's get to COVID.
All right.
I know we're over COVID. We're always over COVID.
It's over.
We also have, 158,000 new cases, limited data.
Back up. We were at like 400 deaths a week 2 weeks ago. We're now up to 571 a week. And I know that's not the only, obviously, like, look at Strike's tail. That's so cute.
I didn't even realize.
Like all of the long COVID, all of the diminished immunity.
Ignored completely by any record that gets to the public discourse.
Yeah. Nothing.
But there are only 1 million daily cases.
Jesus Christ.
The second slide in, make it in here. Because, I just want to say, go follow Mike Horger.
Yeah, he's great.
He's great, but he also put out...
I put it after the mask stuff. I just rearranged it a little bit. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but what he put out that goes with this is a for people who are going to be, there it is.
Yeah, I just put it after the NASA mask ban, which is insane.
Yeah, so this is to fight back. Find his account, please, and then
he's great.
You'll see this. He's running this group. I think he created it. If not, he's at least part of it. The Pandemic Mitigation Collaborative. They put out. This is documentation you could use to find a reason to be exempt from the mask ban. So you need a medical excuse, whatever. This is it.
You're going to be explaining yourself to Yahoo's cry bully Yahoo cops who want to pull your mask off and humiliate you and infect you, which by the way, the biggest cause of cop death in 2020 and 2021 was COVID. Put a fucking mask on your face, fucking pig. Yeah.
And just to set this up, obviously, I think most people saw it, but NASA literally passed a criminalization of masks at public protests and,
I love that
anywhere. I mean, they can enact it anywhere.
It passed along party lines 12-0 with 7 abstentions. So the abstentions were the Democrats. Really disgusting.
And so you can face time in jail and $1,000.
I mean, that is
and
eugenics.
For the love of God, people in Nassau protest, sue, everything you can. And, it's like Cop City. The Cop Cities are being built. We need to fight them everywhere. This is the first instance of a mask mandate. I mean, a mask criminalization happening. And we need to make that our focus in a large way, just like in Atlanta. That's the one big cop city, but the cop cities are being built everywhere.
Right.
So this
the mask ban
roadmap
is it's going to happen
in Nassau. And by the way, in Nassau, at the same time, they just
Walz. You can say Walz, but it's Nassau.
I'm gonna add a TZ to Nassau just because you deserve it.
Yeah, I know. Well, and fuck them. They did the mask ban. Yeah, Nassau.
But
whatever.
At the same time, they just passed legislation saying you can't wear a mask, at certain events, and you can go to jail if they tell you can't have a mask at this thing.
And
the state is putting out like literal warnings about how bad COVID is.
Well, wash your hands.
Yeah, wash your hands.
Wash your damn hands. This is the real reason. I mean, this is from the Gothamist, which I used to think had like a little bit of a sort of like insurrection-y kind of vibe, or like mainstream kind of revolt against the system. But I guess I was wrong. There's no reason for normal sauce people to publicly hide their faces. Here we go. In keffiyehs, cinched hoodies. So that's Arabs and blacks. I mean, that's really what we're saying.
They got it all in there. And they also have like 2 guys that look like a gay couple or something. So it's like every level of.
Yeah, that's the flimsy. You're right. Like that's the gay thing. Yeah.
Right. So
have the stones, be a man, have the balls to be identifiable. This is all about a police state and surveillance. It has nothing to do with public health. And the fact that we don't have any public health in this country is disgusting. We saw it affect.
But
Well,
no, I think it's both. It's public health. I mean, it's enforcement of against protesters, but it's also like caving to the wills of the government, because like also, even if Democrats go along with this or the left goes along with it, like, because this is such the norm of how people should be, and these guys look weird, Democrats can't afford to be anything but in agreement with it, which serves capitalism and serves the agenda of like everyone needs to go to work with no protections. So like Democrats love that this is out there, because now they're like, well, look, we can't do anything about it. The public has just decided.
It's the law.
They've decided that we can't win this fight. So
yeah, absolutely. That is all true. And yes, there's yet another study talking about how similar COVID is to AIDS, because it disrupts our T cells and our immune system's ability to fight off infections, which is why even when people have vaccinations, because we are no longer as a society have herd immunity, which is that is actually a real thing. Not with COVID, but it is a real thing. But we've destroyed our collective immunity, and people are getting cold several times a year, flu several times a year, obviously COVID over and over, measles is making a comeback.
And just to clarify, correlating COVID with AIDS is not as far-fetched as people may think who don't understand. Nobody's saying COVID is HIV. AIDS is what you get from HIV. AIDS is acquired immunodeficiency. And so when you get COVID, you are acquiring an compromising element to your body that doesn't go away. It doesn't mean it has the exact same symptoms as HIV or whatever, but you're weakening the shit out of your immune system when you get this thing. And that's clear as all fucking day. And
people who died of AIDS, they didn't die of AIDS. It was always like, pneumonia. I mean, honestly, like it was always something that like weakened your whole system. You die of things that your body would normally be able to fight off.
It's the same thing that's happening now, but in a different way. COVID attacks organs and heart specifically, and
your vascular system.
Compromise. It passes the blood-brain barrier as well. It's like, it's awful. We don't know what it is in its end state.
We're at 4 years in.
We know
right?
enough when you have 1 million people, and 1 in 37 people in the US right now have COVID. 1 in 37. You think the fucking press would tell you, and at least you'd think the leftists who care about your safety would say, hey, 1 in 37 people have this right now. 1 in 37. That's pretty much like if you work in a store and you're a counter person, like you see 200-300 people a day. So 5 people with COVID just were in your face. Maybe you should mask. Maybe the left should fucking get on that.
Well, you got to ban it because there might be an Arab or a black person or a gay person, and there's protests. And do you want Trump?
All right, I know we've ran long.
Oh my gosh, we are really long. But wait,
I do. Yes,
Jon Stewart has COVID.
Jon Stewart has COVID. David Lynch has COVID as well.
He's retiring. He's done. He said he can't even be out in public because how COVID affected him. He can barely breathe.
So many people, like the list is going to be astronomical. So I do want to show the WHO telling the public at the same time. I'm not going to show Mandy Cohen. Mandy Cohen runs the CDC.
By the way, where is she? Like, Rochelle Walensky left, and then we got a new person, but she's never shown up with all the different spikes.
Well, no, strangely, she did show up for this, but we're not going to show it. But it was a Zoom call. Like Mandy Cohen, the head of the CDC,
white women,
not doing an in-person thing. She's on a Zoom call talking about COVID.
Awesome.
Maybe she knows a little about COVID, but she doesn't want to inform the public. But anyway, this is a WHO reminding people like yesterday or the day before about COVID. Like this is when people are like, well, if it was a problem, we'd be hearing about it. You're not hearing about it, but these are the people that are informed on it, and they're screaming at the world about it, but our press doesn't care. And the left, especially the left, progressive left, are worthless as fuck.
Is for you, Dr. Cohen.
I went to Mandy Cohen. I don't want to show Mandy Cohen.
No, do not.
Here's the WHO.
I have 3 main messages. First, COVID-19 is still very much with us. The virus is circulating in all countries. Data from our Sentinel-based systems across 84 countries reports that the percent of positive tests for SARS-CoV-2 has been rising over the last several weeks. Overall, test positivity is above 10%, but this fluctuates by region. In Europe, percent positivity is over 20%. To my second point, governments need to continue to invest and support our global understanding of the circulation and impact of this virus, and to provide their populations with the tools to protect themselves and care for people suffering from acute and long-term effects of COVID-19, including post-COVID-19 condition, also called long COVID. Third, as individuals, it is important to take measures to reduce risk of infection and severe disease, including ensuring that you have had a COVID-19 vaccination dose in the last 12 months, especially if you are in an at-risk group. Over the last 2 years, we've seen an alarming decline in vaccination coverage, especially among health workers and people over 60, 2 of the most at-risk groups. This urgently needs to be turned around.
Okay, so while I know we're going to wrap it up, but she says 10%, but in the US at Walgreens, people testing are at 40%. So basically that's like roughly half the people that go in there and are like, I'm sick. It's COVID.
with the shittiest tests that they have, because we don't even have updated tests. Yeah, it's COVID.
So
it's COVID. Wear a mask inside. I cannot believe the number of people I see posting pictures of themselves and their families indoors without a mask. I honestly, like, I don't get it. Everybody's brains just checked out. Super fun way to end. It was to end on either Israel or COVID.
We cheered them up with COVID at the end. We brought them back to the good times.
So much fun. We do have some programming notes. I am going away for 5 nights with my family. I'm very excited. So we are not having a show on Sunday or next Wednesday. I hope nothing happens. That's exciting that we should be covering. It's been such a slow news decade. So it's going to make me feel really weird not to clip everything and be like talking to you. I mean, I'll still, I'm sure, talk to you 10 times a day, but like in preparation for a show. But everybody enjoy a week off from us.
Well, you deserve a vacation. You guys all deserve a break from both of us. So, but don't forget to come back afterwards.
I know. I'm always nervous. It's like the desperate actress in me where it's like, oh my God, will you still remember me if I go away? I didn't go away for a junior semester abroad. I was so afraid that that might have been the period that my, fame would have taken off in New York, and I just couldn't do anything besides that.
Almost had it.
I almost had it. We are going to go out on something that might be, get the whole show blocked, but there was kind of amazing moment at the Olympics where, for the first time in gymnastics history, 3 Black women took the podium, winning gold, silver, and bronze. Simone Biles, who's like the all-around greatest in the world. And oh my God, my brain just Jasmine Childs, sorry, it took me a second, also American. They won silver and bronze and bowed down to Rebecca Andrade, the Brazilian athlete who had to overcome 3 ACL injuries over the past few years to win gold. And it was really a beautiful moment. And just in case the video gets cut, just want to show the 3 of them together.
Right.
And the
just
2 Americans bowing down to the Brazilian who won gold.
And the solidarity, like, the Olympics are great, but like, it's not go USA, make America great again. It's just like, I don't know. I appreciate when you see stuff like this. I appreciate that. Simone Biles has overcome so much herself to be there, and all these people work their ass off and to respect
each other's excellence.
Yeah.
In that way.
Beyond country bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Imagine there are no borders. Keep punching up, everybody. I got to refill my glass. I love you all
see you in
so
a week.
much. Thank you.
10 days, whatever ish. Someone do the math. Lila, don't do math. Lila, don't do math.
No matter what.
I'll do it.
Cheers, everybody.
Go!